Some, in fact, we told don't come. They were at the committee dealing with the report process and so on, so we asked them to stay there. So there are some we can account for, others not too sure, but those of us who were here. We deliberated on the two bills especially that are very controversial, the UPDF amendment bill and the political parties amendment bill. And we said that we shall be in the House today. That's the decision that we took. And we were in the House today. We said we shall, before 10 a.m., be in the House. And I want to appreciate colleagues because they were in the House before 10 a.m. And as we agreed, there's been issues with these two bills especially. Number one, it was obvious the state seemed hell-bent to pass the bill willy-nilly. Consultation was not conducted as is provided for within the law for different stakeholders to have their input into these bills. I raised this matter at least twice last week, asking the Speaker, please avail time. This business of ambushing the different stakeholders, whether it be political parties, law society, and other stakeholders, NGOs, and so on, to bring their input into the bill on the very morning. Letters were reaching them in the morning and saying, come right now. That's not consultation as is envisaged under the law. And the Speaker promised that she will avail time. As we went into the weekend, the joint committee was processing this bill, meaning that stakeholders were locked out, their views disregarded. That means that's not a law for the people, because laws are made for the people, and that's why there's provision for them to be consulted, and there's 45 days provided for within the law. That was flouted. We did hear the government chief whip who said something very interesting, political or otherwise. He represents government. And one of these bills, the most controversial one, was a government bill, the UPDF amendment bill. He said, for us, we have decided that this bill is going to be passed in its form, in its shape, as it is. So, government, why did you then bring that bill to Parliament? If you wanted to pass it, why did you not just decree, like Idi Amin Dada used to do? Decree and say this is law. Because when you bring the bill to Parliament, that means you're going to subject it to scrutiny of members of Parliament, of committees, and different stakeholders. But they were saying, no, for us, we have decided it will pass as is. Meaning even the input of committees and other stakeholders was disregarded totally. We said, let's go to the House and raise this matter again, because that's our platform. And we said we are not going to make it easy for them. So this morning, we went to the House, and as you saw, I did raise this matter for the umpteenth time to say, Madam Speaker, can we proceed within the law? You cannot bring reports when there's not been time for consultation. That means they are reports of just a few people. We also got information that the majority committee report of the joint committee must have been generated. We don't know whether it be from State House or wherever, but members were just called to sign, because yesterday they left the hotel where they were before the report was worked on. They went to State House in Entebbe. They did not return to the hotel where they were processing together as a joint committee. Even for our colleagues to be able to have their minority view heard, to say, okay, now this is what you have processed as a joint committee, but we are disagreeing. They did not go back to the hotel. Instead, this morning, we understand they were just called and said, you come and sign. Where? Parliament or whatever. So they were just coming to append their signature. That means even the committee process did not end as it should have. Because that's how you produce committees, committee reports. You sit, agree, disagree, produce either one report or multiple reports. But they ran away, and they did not go back. I want to appreciate our colleagues on the committee who put in a lot of effort. Because as we were seeing the direction the majority committee report was taking, They said, let's be the voice of reason, and they put together very good thoughts and a very good minority report, which I believe the country will have occasion to look at, the members of the general public. Very good report. These people did not sleep. I spoke to them late in the night, got to them again early morning, and they were still up putting together an amazing minority report. But of course, as we got to the House this morning, it became clear the Speaker was not interested in following due process. When we were saying, but there's not been adequate time for consultation. Why are you hurrying this? What's the hurry about? Speaker was saying, oh no, you wait for the Bills Committee stage, you will raise that matter. But we're saying before the Bills Committee stage, we are raising this issue procedurally now. Because once you go to the Bills Committee stage, you cannot go back and get stakeholder views. You can't, you'll have moved. And clearly we realized they were not interested in that. We said, no, this is a sham process. And we agreed we shall not be part of a sham process. And we are categorical about calling this a sham process because once a bill has not gone through the consultation that is envisaged under the law, it is sham. This same bill goes against the ruling of the Supreme Court because the Supreme Court was saying civilians have no place going before military courts. Even soldiers, by the way, who were beneficiaries of the ruling of the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court said even these soldiers, for offenses that are provided for within the Penal Code Act, take them to the civilian courts. Only service offenses, internal disciplinary issues, should be tried by these disciplinary courts. But clearly, government was saying, we shall flout that too. So we said, we have made our case. We have made every effort to try and appeal to the reason of the Speaker, and she has failed. So we said, no, we are not going to be part of sanitizing a sham process. We chose to leave them to continue with their sham process. And we have taken a decision that we are going to court over these matters because we have adequate grounds. One, of course, Article 92 of the Constitution is being flouted. The decision of the Supreme Court is being disregarded. But two, there was no consultation. And you say these people are not smart. Even when you want to do something, you have an end in mind. At least you consult. Listen to the various views of different stakeholders. Then you can disagree with them. But first listen to them. They did not want to do that. I mean, in the past, we have been part of bills which we disagree with and so on. But we remain up to the very end, put out our minorities and so on. And then we say, okay, the majority have had their way, but the minority have had their say. In this case, they did not even want the minority to have their say. That's why we said we will not be part of that sham process. So we are going to court to raise these grounds. One, we are telling court, government and Parliament for that matter is in contempt of a decision of court, the Supreme Court at that. Number two, due process was not followed. There was no consultation. Even the way the majority committee report was arrived at, it was sham. And that's the matter. We want to take this matter to court and put the courts to the test. And we are glad that sometimes when the courts are put to the test, they do come out, like they did in the matter, this very matter. Because the matter went all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, no, civilians should not be taken to military courts. We are hoping that the courts will speak out again in defense of their space. And of course, we know that there's different stakeholders that have hinted on a possibility of going to court, whether it be civil society organizations and others. We'll connect with them. We'll connect with them so that we get to have a joint suit and be able to put this matter to the test. I thank you. At 10 a.m. and we were in the house. Some things we might not tell you everything. Yeah. It's also not very wise to give a blueprint of literally everything. Yeah. What's important is we did inform you that we shall be in the house today at 10 a.m. because that's our house. They can deploy. You've seen drones all over. They can do whatever and all of that. But it is our house. So we said we shall be here at 10 a.m. And whatever happened after that has happened, but we were in the house at 10 a.m. and that was very important. We had the option of not showing up today. Yeah, as some people were saying, but we said, no, this is our house, it is our space. We shall be in the house at 10 a.m. And we were. Do we have trust in the courts of law? Look, there are still judges who are very concerned about this country. And you've seen some progressive decisions. And that's why you see Mr. Museveni many times is always castigating some of these judges, saying, some of you bad judges, you should stop releasing people on bail and so on and so forth. Yeah, because there are some judges who are saying, but the law is the law. Why do you hold somebody for donkey's years without releasing them on bail? It is wrong. So they are there, and we believe we shall be able to appeal to that school of thought. Besides, it is the same Supreme Court that issued this ruling. So we are saying, this was your ruling. Fight to see to it that it is upheld. Somebody asked disagreement from some members. Yeah, that can happen. And that's why we normally agree to meet. Yesterday we were here. The number you see today is a lot more than that which was here yesterday. So if for one reason or another some members were not here yesterday and they are unhappy and so on, I am a leader, and you know, these are leaders, these are mature adults and leaders in their own right too. You're not going to get a stick, look for people, where are you? Come here for this meeting, and so on and so forth. No, that cannot happen. We respect one another. So when we call for a meeting, some will show up, some might not show up. Maybe you'll hear them quarreling. Why did you decide the way you decided, even when they were not present? There's nothing I can do for them, because this is not a school. I'm going to get a chiboko and I begin to whip fellow leaders, because even the chief opposition whip, he whips within the rules. He will invite members, you know, reach out to them, please come and attend plenary, attend committees, attend meetings, and so on. But he's not going to arrest any member. Yeah. So we keep moving nonetheless, because you see, in the run up to all of this, you've been seeing all that's been happening. Some people you will not whip. You know, some people you will not whip. We told you about the 100 million shillings, for example. And we said NRM people got it. But even some opposition, not all, but some. How am I going to whip those people who were paid to frustrate this process and to make sure the bill passes as is? But you do what you have got to do. Because ultimately, we are accountable to the people of Uganda. Yes, Canary has asked to say we were going to be in the house. Yes, we were in the house by 10 a.m. You saw that our side had more members than the NRM side, because that's what we promised, that we shall be in the house. And we were in the house until we took a decision. Now let's step out. Juma says, I single-handedly took this decision. How would you know that? Do you know who I consulted with and all of that? You've not sat in our meetings and all of that. We meet as leaders to discuss, paint scenarios, and some things we'll say we'll follow up. Let's keep in touch with each other and so on and so forth, and then you move. What's important is that we get to meet and share ideas, and consultation keeps happening. And even as we agreed that as events unfold, we keep monitoring and pushing through. Maybe if the speaker had hearkened to our plea that let's allow for proper consultation to happen, perhaps we would still be in the house right now. Because that's what we're saying. Don't hurry this. There's no need to hurry it. Listen to all the different views. There's no reason for us to hurry to second and third reading and so on. It's still within our control. There's nothing burning that we must hurry. There's no legal deadline that we are trying to beat. It's not like the appropriation bill, which must have been passed by a particular date. And even with the appropriation bill, you have an entire financial year to get ready. So you cannot hurry members in the last week. You had an entire year to prepare. But this particular one does not even have a deadline by which we must have passed it. And that's what we're saying. So perhaps if the speaker had listened to that appeal, we would still be in the house. But here we are. Ramson, minority meant to be from the major. By the way, the minority actually included the issues of no consultation and all of that. So some issues were really expected. Also the breakage of 92, Article 92 of the Constitution, which we have been talking about all this while, all those were captured. So yes, I stick to what I said, that our minority report was a very good report. And we'll share. Ugandans will read it and see the depth therein. And I again congratulate our colleagues who stayed up all night to put this amazing document together, including one or two NRM folks. Gloria, if minority report was a good one, why not wait to table it? You see, you also don't want to, I mean, you can't keep walking into a ditch and you keep walking. You see that this is a ditch. You told the speaker, this is wrong. Let's rectify. There is still time to rectify. She said, no, so why do we keep moving and falling into a ditch? Why? Tweheo, maybe you should have fought some clauses. Did you see space for that to happen? Because we are talking about no consultation having happened. Maybe the different stakeholders were not going to oppose the entire bill. Maybe. But that space was not accorded to them. So now at this point you cannot even say, maybe you should have said to fight this clause or the other or whatever. No one wanted to listen to that reason, and that's why they locked out everybody. Bale, yeah, some are unhappy, some are happy. That's leadership. You've got to take a decision, and all of us take decisions at our different levels. You know, when you wake up as a journalist, you go to work, you'll take some decisions. Some people will be happy with them, but you've got to take a decision and stand by it. After, yes, considering many options, painting different scenarios, consultations here and there, and then you take a decision. By the way, whatever decision you take as a leader will impress some and it will annoy some. But once you are sure as a leader that this is the right decision, you have bounced it off a few people here and there, you move. Because indecision is worse than even a bad decision. When you remain undecided, it's problematic. So you take a decision. Some will be happy, some will be unhappy, but that's leadership. Damali, did you get scared of the beatings and that's why you've moved out of Parliament? But you see, even here where we are, if they want to come and beat us from here, they can come. By the way, the most protected part of this building is the chambers. That's the most sacrosanct part of this building, which you don't expect anyone to just walk in anyhow. But they have raided it severally, you know. So even here where we are seated, they can still come. People have been abducted from their homes and eventually taken to the military courts and so on, waylaid and so on and so forth. So you can't say that, let me go away from here and go here, that I'm safe here. No. These law breakers, they don't care about the law. They can find you wherever. Are we going to court over both bills? Like we have said, both bills are problematic. There was no consultation for both bills. Really, there wasn't. Of course, one is more contentious than the other because one bill is about life. People, the Machetes, the Kalanzis, and so on, they have been in jail for coming to 5 years now. They don't know their fate. So it's a matter of life and death. Some people have been sentenced to death by the military courts. Others, you know, you have seen Mr. Museveni's son, Muhoozi, saying, I am going to arrest this one, I will lock you up, take you to basement, beat you up, and so on. So this would be handing him now the law to use to do whatever he has been doing outside the law. Yeah, so, but both bills are problematic, and yes, we are engaging with different legal minds, and then we pursue the court direction. I think those were the questions. Briefly, Eggulo twabadde wano nga babaka ludda oluvuganya. Fenna of course twabaddewo, abamu babadde mu committee, era twabasabye basigaleyo, abalala tebasobodde kujja olw'ensonga ez'enjawulo, abamu tetumanyi oba oli awo bo banenyonnyolako bo nga bo, naye twatudde ne tuwayamuko ku mateeka agaleeteddwa era ne tukkaanya nti olunaku olwaleero tugenda kukeera tuyingire ssetteeserezo Parliament. Twagambye nti yes, abantu abamu bagamba temulinnya nayo, naye ne tugamba yes, tubawuliriza katugendeyo tukozese platform eyo gye tulina. Of course bingi bye tutababuulidde ne twabagambye saawa 4 zigenda okuwera nga tuyingidde Parliament, era njagala kwebaza ababaka bannange saawa 4 zagenza okuwera nga saidi yaffe mugiraba ababaka gye tuli nga tulindiridde. Twagenzeeyo of course nga tumanyi byonna bye tuzze tulaba tuyitamu mu bbago, naddala ebbago erya UPDF n'erya political parties amendment bill. Gonna amateeka gano ng'olaba bagaddusa supiidi. Nakyogerako era ne sipiika ne mugamba nti muwadde abantu ab'enjawulo okuwa endowooza zaabwe olunaku lumu lwokka, ate mubayise ku olwo olunaku lwennyini. Ekyo tekisoboka. Tukiwa obudde, tewali kisiriira, tewali kyetaagisa kutuddusa misinde, obudde tubulina. Eno si emergency. Era tugamba n'okugamba nti abantu bano bulijjo wabeerawo ebigwa bitalaze, amataba nga gayodde abantu, ettaka ligwiridde, abantu ebuduuda, ekalangala, ensoke z'abalumba ne bafiirwa ebyabwe, ne kaakano gavumenti natuusayo buyambi. Tugambe ebyo birina okubeerako supiidi ey'ekitalo ennyo. Ebyo tebalina na kusooka kujja mu Parliament, mugende muyambe abantu abo. Ng'ensonga ezo tetunazoogerako ababaka mu bitundu eby'enjawulo nti ewaffe ekibambuliro kyagudde wano, kino kyabaddewo. Gavumenti dduka misinde, naye ku nsonga enkulu tebajja kudduka misinde. Ku kino ekyokunyigiriza bannansi ate badduka misinde. Olunaku olwali twafunye information nti ne committee report, majority committee report, naye teyayise mu mitendera gy'erina okuyitamu, kubanga bannaffe babadde ku woteeri nga bawayamu ku nsonga ez'enjawulo, clauses ez'enjawulo naki, aba NRM ne babayita okugenda Entebbe State House, era n'ababadde nga bali mu meeting nga bagamba nedda etteeka lino likyamu, bagenze eri bagenze okuvaayo nga byakyuse. Naye ate bannaffe bano olwavudde Entebbe State House tebazzeeyo gye babadde bateeseza ripooti yaabwe. Kitegeeza ripooti tebaagimaliriza bulungi ng'akakiiko. Ne tuwulira babayise ku makya nti ripooti yino mujje musayininge. Eyo ripooti yavuddewa era bagiteesezzaako wa mu State House, ani yagiwandiise? Kubanga babadde mu committee process teyawedde. Era bannaabwe ne babagamba kale mugende mu kokasi meeting yammwe, tujja kubalinda. Babalinze tebaalabiseeko. Naye ku makya nga babagamba ripooti yino eri wano mujje musayininge, nga beebuuza ripooti eyo yavuddewa. Tuzzemu nate era Kyovuddola twagambye tugende mu house makya ga leero. Nenzijjukiza sipiika nti watugamba ng'ensonga eno tugyogeddeko wano, obudde obwebuuza ku bantu ab'enjawulo tebukozeseddwa. Abantu bano tebaweereddwa chance ab'enjawulo, ebibiina by'ebyobufuzi, Uganda Law Society n'abalala abasinga ebbaluwa bazifuna ku makya ssaawa 2 jangu ssaawa 3 otuwe endowooza zo, ate tolina kusukka lunaku lwa leero. Ku lwaki? Era nga tusuubira nti sipiika oba oli awo ayinza okuswalamukko agambe kale tukyongereko ku budde kubanga tewali kitubapya. Naye naaga nti tulinde ku stage eddako, bills committee stage, ensonga ezo muzireeti. Netugamba nedda, tetuyinza kulinda bills committee stage kubanga wootuukira eyo toyinza kudda mabega nti ate kaakati tudde mu consultations. Ekyo oba okikola wano mu ntandikwa. Mwalabye ne government chief whip Hamson Obua Mutumbi nga bavudde State House n'agamba nti ffe tusazeewo etteeka lino, amateeka gano 2 gombi tugenda gayisanga bwe gali. Ekitegeeza nti mwali mwebuzaabuza okulireeta mu Parliament ligende mu committee n'okuwandiikira abantu ab'enjawulo amabaluwa bajje bawe endowooza zaabwe. Kubanga gwe government chief whip, gavumenti yaleeta etteeka lino naddala erya UPDF, bw'ovaayo n'ogamba nti ffe tugenda diyisanga bwe liri. Lwaki temwagamba mukama wammwe Mwai Museveni ayise decree? Idi Amin Dada yayisanga zi decrees nti kino kyensazeewo lyetteeka, muleme kubuuzaabuza abantu nti mulireese ono mu Parliament n'ebirala n'ebirala. Kubanga amateeka amalala gayisiddwa naago ge tuwakanya nga tugeetabamu ku lwaki? Kubanga waakiri wabeerawo process, ne tuwayo endowooza zaffe, abantu ab'enjawulo ne bajja ne bawa endowooza zaabwe naki. Ate nno baalikoze ekyo singa babaddemu akenso oba n'okutegeera nti kale waakiri abantu bano newankubadde tulina kye twagala okukola tubawe chance bawe endowooza zaabwe. Ebyo nga tebaagala biwulira, badduka speed. So kwe kusalawo tufulume tubalekere ebiteeka byabwe ebimenya amateeka netugamba tugenda kwetaba mu process ekola ekikyamu kubanga consultations tezikoleddwa. Supreme Court yawe ebiragiro byayo ate ebiragiro bya Supreme Court mulimu kubivoola ekimenya ssemateeka yaffe akawaayiro 92 netugamba nedda eno process eno ey'obumenyi bw'amateeka ffe tetujja kugyetabamu. Oba oliawo singa waakiri bateekawo process yaba ne babebuuzaako kugamba ne bagezaako okulaga nti kale newankubadde tetukkaanya nammwe naye ndowooza zammwe muzireete, ekyo tebaakikola. Kwe kufuluma. Mu kufuluma tusazeewo nti tugenda mu kooti okuwakanya amateeka gano agaleeteddwa mu bumenyi bw'amateeka awatabadde consultations n'ebirala. Era ne kooti nayo tugigamba nti kooti ensukkulumu yawa ekiragiro ekyo kivooleddwa. Kooti mugenda kutuulawo mutunule butunuzi, temujja kwerwanako, katusubire kooti ejja kwerwanako. Weewaawo tukimanyi nti waliwo abantu ab'enjawulo, NGOs n'abantu abalala ebitongole ebyenjawulo nabo abalaze nti bayinza okwagala okugenda mu kooti nabo. Tujja kukwatagana nabo era ensonga eno wamu nabo bonna abaagala okugenda mu kooti tukwatagane nabo tugende mu kooti ku nsonga zino. Mwebale nnyo. Obukulembeze oluusi bubeera ne mutuula ne muwayamuko. Abamu bayinza okukkiriza, abamu ne batakkiriza, ne mumaliriza nga mulina okusenvula. Kanano yabuuzizza mwagambye temugenda mu house leero ate nga mwavuddeyo. Yes, twagambye tujja kugenda mu plenary era twagenze. Saawa nnya zaagenze okutuuka nga tutudde wali. Mwalabye nti sayidi yaffe ffe twakedde n'okukeera nga weetuli bannaffe nga tebannajja. Ekyo kye twagambye. Tuyinza okuba tulina bingi bye tutaabagambye, ebimu tubyerekeriza naffe tubyerekera ne tubabuulira kye tulina obbabuulira. Twagambye tugenda kubeera mu house era ne bwe twatudde ne bannaffe ntukkaanya tugende mu house tukole ekirina okukolebwa nga bwe tumonitoring embeera osigala ogitunuulira nti kakati ki ekigenda mu maaso, ki ekitambula. Era nga kigatta ne ku kyajjuma ntibasazeewo gwe nga gwe nedda si bwe kiri. Kuba twatudde wano ne tugamba tugende mu house ako kazindaalo kaffe tugende tukakozese era nga bwe tuteekayo ensonga zino enkulu sipiika tumujjukize nti nyabo ogamba ojja kuwaayo obudde bukyaliyo. Zino bills osobola n'okuzijja ku order paper n'oteekako ebirala. Abantu abalina endowooza ez'enjawulo abakugu n'abalala bajje mu kakiiko bawe endowooza zaabwe kubanga tewali kisiriira, tewali kirina tuddusa sipiidi. Oba oliawo singa sipiika yatuwulirizza n'agamba kale kati kyongere obudde kubanga n'etteeka lituwa ennaku 45 kakati gwa kakiiko okawadde olunaku lumu okusinkana abantu ab'enjawulo. Ekyo tekisoboka. Oba oliawo singa yatuwulirizza twalibadde tukyali mu house nga tuli ku nsonga endala ez'enjawulo naye yagaanye otuwuliriza ne tugamba kale kasa tukitadde ku record ne tuddamu okumujjukiza etteeka ki kye ligamba ku nsonga zino. Ramson, minority report terina kuva mu report enkulu ne bino ebintu ebirala byonna weewaawo byabaddemu. In fact ebintu ebimu byo twabyetegekera nga bukyali tugamba nti kaakati kino kivoola ssemateeka akawaayiro 92 ekyo kyo kirina okubeeramu n'ebirala ebize bikolebwa consultations ezikoleddwa netugamba ekyo nakyo tulina okiteekako essira. Naye nga bwe tubagambye bannaffe basazeewo otambula nga bwe batambudde. Gloria nti lwaki temwalinzeeko. Munnaye toyinza kutambula ng'ogwa mu kinnya n'osigala ng'otambula ng'ekinnya okiraba. Nino osigala n'otambula n'ogenda n'okigwamu. Nedda, kitu kiba kituufu. So twagambye nti yes, tujja kukola ekirina okukolebwa paka ku stage wulabira ddala kati tugenda kugwa mu kinnya. Lwaki tuba tukigwamu? Tekyetaagisa. Baale nti yes, waliwo abamu maybe tweheyo yagambye nti oba oliawo twalirwanyisiza clauses ezimu. Naye kati abantu oba tobawadde na chance kujja kuwa ndowooza zaabwe kubanga nkakasa nti ababadde bajja okuleeta mu kakiiko endowooza zaabwe oba oliawo babadde tebagenda kuwakanya tteeka lyonna pages 15 naye tubawadde chance ogamba nti kale eno clause eno zikiriziganya nayo eno njiwakanya. Eyo chance tebaddeewo. Baale abamu basanyufu abamu si basanyufu. Munaye bukulembeze bwe butyo Bale mbiwulire eyo mu ngambo simanyi oba bituufu nti naawe oyagala fuuka mukulembeze. Oba oli awo eno gye tuli gy'ojja naye bw'obeera omukulembeze era olwedde mukulembeze mu b'amawulire tolaba kaakati bw'obeera omukulembeze oba omukulembeze ffe eno gye tuli bannabyabufuzi oba oli mukulembeze mu b'amawulire oba oli mukulembeze ku kyalo kyo ne mu famire oluusi oyina okukola decisions ezimu n'osalawo tugenda kukola bwe kino oba kiri. Abamu bajja kusanyuka abamu tebajja kusanyuka naye ate ng'omukulembeze kikukakatako okukola decision. Twatudde wano ne tugamba tugenda mu house leero abantu abamu tebasanyuse naye ne tugamba tugenze mu house era twabaddeyo olunaku olwaleero paka tutuuse ne tugamba nti kaakati tugifulume. So ate munnange bw'otakola kusalawo ekyo kikyamu okusinga n'okukola okusalawo kukyamu. Kola decision. Damali nti twatidde okutuyisaako emigobante. Munnange abantu bano tebaswala ne wano we tutudde bwe baagala bayinza otusangawo kati gwe kyekikulowozesa nti wano we tuli safe era gye twabadde tetuli safe ate nga chambers ezisinga okubeera protected nti eyo abantu tebamala gayingira naye bayingirayo. So tuyinza gaa nti kakati eri tuvuddeyo ne tujja wano we tuli safe wano mu boardroom ya leader of opposition n'olowooza nti ojja kuba safe bwe baagala kubanga vaani we ziri wali bayinza otukimawo wano naye ffe tetulina kutya era twagambye tujja kujja mu house leero oba badiployinze batya oba batya eno house yaffe abantu baatulonda kwe kujja. Tugenda mu kooti ku bills zombi zirina obuzibu. Bills zombi twabaddewo kwebuuza ku bantu ab'enjawulo okumala ng'etteeka bwe ligamba. Of course bill emu yate nkyamu nnyo kubanga yeekuusa ku bulamu bw'abantu eno eya UPDF eyo yo yakufana kuwona abantu babawamba bali eyo makomera bamachete bakalanzi baani bagenda myaka 5 bali eyo emisango tegyatandika bali eyo kugamba eno yo of course baddeko nnyo ebbugumu kubanga yo ekwata ku bulamu bw'abantu eyo paka yetugambe kaakati tufulume. Wabuuziza n'ekirala nti tulina obwesige mu makooti. Munnange amakooti waliyo abantu abalamuzi era boolaba ne bagamba nti tulina okukola ensala ku lw'abantu. Mwami Museveni azze abayombesa mu abalamuzi lwaki muta abantu kakaluka kooti naye abalamuzi abamu basigala bata abantu kakaluka kooti nga bagamba nedda omuntu ono ddembe lye okumuwa bail newankubadde Mwami Museveni tagala tubawa bail naye etteeka bwe ligamba abalamuzi abo gye bali. Ate munnange ne kooti yennyini ensukkulumu yeyakola okusalawo kuno ku saidi y'abantu era gye tudda tugambe nti mwasalawo bwe muti bannaffe banate bo basazeewo okukola birala mugenda sirika busiri singa kooti gye tudda. Mwebale nnyo.
Kyetuzaako ndowooza owulidde mukama waffe LoP kyayogedde genda mu kooti nga tuwakkanya biiru eno wenaaba eyisiddwa okubeera etteeka kuba okusookera ddala tetukkiriziganya na ngeri biiru eno gyeyitambuddemu. Bwe tuba nga biiru enaayita bayita ba stakeholders buli omu okuba nga awaayo ebirowoozo bye obikwatagana ku biiru bw'eba eteesebwako naye bw'olaba ennaku biiru gye bagireetedde n'abantu engeri gye babadde babayitamu ba stakeholders olaba tebabawadde budde era ne tebagenzeeko mu komiti kuwayo birowoozo byabwe kuba kakati nga bw'olaba ekibiina kya NUP yandibaddemu ku ba stakeholders abalitaaddemu amaanyi okubanga etteeka lino likola ki liyita kubanga etteeka lya UPDF libadde likwatagana nnyo ku bibiina by'obufuzi naye bw'olaba ebbaluwa eyita aba NUP gye baabawa baabayita ssaawa 3 kyokka ebbaluwa yabatuukako ssaawa 2:30 ng'ate babagamba ssaawa 3 mujje mubeerewo muwe ebirowoozo byammwe ne bamaliriza nga tebasobola kugendayo mu kakiiko. So kati ffe ng'ababaka abava ku opposition y'ensonga lwaki tufulumye kubanga etteeka terigoberedde mateeka agayisibwamu Parliament okubanga etteeka livaamu biiru evaayo nefuuka etteeka y'ensonga lwaki tufulumye.
Etteeka lino kuva ku sitaati yaalyo direeta wano lyali libweru w'amateeka. Ku Supreme Court eyogedde ate mwe mugiwakanya. Ne tulabika ng'omutima balireeta si ddungi. N'engeri gye sipiidi gye bakozesezaamu odiyisa naye tebadde nnungi. Ne tujja nga tulize kusaba sipiika ayongereyo obudde bwongere okufuna ebirowoozo by'abantu ab'enjawulo. Oba oliawo decision ekolebwe ng'esinziira consultation ez'enjawulo. N'akigaana. Ne tugamba ffe tubeerewo ng'etteeka lino erigenda okubonyaabonya buli munnayuganda litambula. Tubeerewo mu mbeera era tuddemu tukubwe emiggo tukole biki mu mbeera nga bweri nga baganya okutuwuliriza. So kwe kusalawo ne tugamba katugende tubaviire bakole ebintu byabwe tudde ku mulimu gumu gwa kujjako mu 7 kwa tunamujjaku ekijja okutereeza eggwanga.
Free for liberty, together we'll always stand.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
When the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown. We shall wear the victor's crown. We shall wear the victor's crown. When the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown. In the new Uganda, we shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Deep in our hearts, I do believe we shall overcome someday. Seven must go, seven will go, seven will go someday. Deep in our hearts, I do believe seven will go someday.